Kathy, can you hear? You're muted. You're muted.
One of the things that came up in the last meeting was whether it's possible, but also add State Street to the downtown. Yeah. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Well, that's why it's like, it'd be great if it wasn't, but I can. Well, I mean, that's obviously.
No. Yeah, I'm using my hotspot. I'm using my hotspot, this hotspot. It'll be okay. Yeah. Oh, I got two. I guess that's enough. I can't connect to YouTube, so I'm gonna just let it go. I'll just record it and then I'll just upload it later.
It's the next milestone, like 60.
She can bring the house down with one. Oh my God. You don't know her very well. Oh, the Hamden, yeah, Chamber of Commerce, yes, I am. I'm so excited. March 1st, yes. Who's your dad? Oh, Dale.
All right, good evening. My
I
name
don't
is
know anybody's dad.
Adam Fox. I am the Principal Engineer of Facilities Design at the Connecticut Department of Transportation. And we're here this evening to present to you the Move New Haven Bus Rapid Transit Project. This project 0402-0034. And before we get started with the presentation, Mayor Sundroff has a few remarks as well as a representative from our Commissioner's Office.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for coming. It's really great to be back at the African American Society. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Appreciate it. I want to acknowledge a lot of people who are here. We have State Representative Lori Sweet. We have State Representative Stephen Winter. They're back there. And we have some members of the Legislative Council. We have Rhonda Caldwell here, and we have Doug Foley as well. We also have quite a few. Oh, and Abdul. Abdul, come on here. 5 minutes ago, I said, I know Abdul's going to be here. I also want to acknowledge a bunch of folks who work for the town. We have here Stephen White, town engineer. We have Eugene Lifshitz, town planner. We have Jim Mesner, the traffic field engineer. And I saw Karen Bivens. Karen Bivens, who is in charge of human services and recreation and some other things too. We have Alexa Deputy Chief of Staff too. I really want to thank the Connecticut Department of Transportation for holding this public engagement meeting on the Hamden portion of Bus Rapid Transit. This is a great forum to learn about the project, learn information, and also ask questions. And I went to a New Haven meeting like this a few weeks ago, and I'm very excited about this project for a few reasons. One is that it's going to improve transportation along the Dixwell corridor. It's really going to help people get from where they are or where they want to be in a much quicker manner. It's also going to improve pedestrian safety. I used to work at the Keefe Community Center, and I know how hard it is to cross Dixwell Avenue around there too. It's going to also help the local and regional economy. It's going to be able to give us an opportunity to do transit-oriented development, and it's going to help a lot of the businesses around the corridor as well too. And it used to, the original plan had it going to Putnam Avenue from the New Haven border to Putnam, but it's going to go all the way to Skiff Street in its current conceptual phase. And lastly, it's also going to help the environment. We're talking about electric buses here, and because of the improved service, hopefully it'll encourage people to take public transportation as well. So thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. And I'll pass it over to Michael Looney from the commission.
Thank you, Mayor, for your opening remarks. We really appreciate your continued support and enthusiasm for the work we're doing here in Hampden. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Looney. I'm the Senior Director for the New Haven Transit Facility Modernization work that we're doing as a department here at DOT. On behalf of the Commissioner, Garrett Upolito, who could not be here tonight, I just want to welcome everyone and thank everyone for coming out on a chilly, rainy night to take part in this presentation. So we're excited to be advancing the Move New Haven BRT project. I think this is a major step forward in improving mobility and convenience around the whole greater New Haven area, not just New Haven, but Hampden and West Haven as well. The mayor alluded to some of the benefits of this project, and they really do go beyond just convenience. They're going to be a real big part of this project. Going to be connecting folks to jobs, to healthcare, to education, to all the different services they need, and have that happen as smoothly and as efficiently as possible. And we're very much aware that success on a project like this requires close coordination with municipalities, and so we're committed to working very closely with the mayor and his team, the cities of New Haven and West Haven, CT Transit, our business community here in Hampden, as well, of course, as residents and stakeholders. So we look forward to having our presentation tonight. We've got a whole slew of experts here. Once we're done with the presentation, we have rollout maps for folks to put notes on, and our experts will be at the various tables able to answer everybody's questions. So we look forward to everyone being engaged. Again, this is sort of the conceptual stage of the project. So there'll be more meetings in the future as we get further along in the project. So we encourage everyone to be engaged, not just for tonight, but for the entire process that goes forwards over the next couple of years. So again, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for hosting us. Appreciate that. And thank you for your partnership in building a better, more connected future for Hampden and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Michael. So just some housekeeping items before we get into the actual presentation on some of the materials and on the project. Want everybody to make sure you know your civil rights. No person shall, on the basis of race, color, or natural origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in development of this project. That's why we're out here in the community trying to get everybody's input here. We do have a voluntary post-meeting survey that is available through this QR code and this link to make sure that you feel like you've been heard through this process. So feel free to use that link. A version of this presentation is already on the project website and is available for you to review. And let's see. Also need to follow up with our Title VI notice to the public, just in case you want to reach out to our federal partners on this project, the Federal Transit Administration. This information, which is also on the website, provides you a link directly to them where you can comment on how we're providing this project to the community. So I want to first introduce you to our project team. Like I said, I'm Adam Fox, Principal Engineer of Facilities Design at Connecticut DOT. Our project partners are Connecticut Transit, who operates the bus system in the area. We also have been working with our community partners, our municipal partners, the city of New Haven, city of West Haven, of course, town of Hampton. And we have our consultant team here as well. We have VHB and Arcadis, who will, various experts throughout will be stationed throughout the public open house portion of this meeting at the roll plots on the boards to so we can ask the experts your questions and we can respond to them and record them and get your input on this project. So the agenda is me and the VHB team and Arcadis team giving you a review of the project. Then we're going to talk about what the next steps are and then how you guys can provide your public comments to us, as well as through the open house forum, and we'll have other ways for you to document your comments. The meeting purpose is really to present the project to you guys and get feedback. We want to know what you think about the project so that we can incorporate that feedback as we move the design forward. So first, the purpose and need of the project is really to improve service for the 4 main bus routes in the New Haven area that have about 41% of the bus ridership rides these 4 routes, and we are looking to improve those. Improve service and travel time throughout these ridership routes, improve safety and convenience along the corridors, and improve connections between high ridership areas and higher intensity mixed use destinations. Just wanted to note that we do have a raise grant through the FTA to help fund the initial portions of those projects. And we'll be looking to obtain additional funding shortly for this project. But this is the first step to make sure that we have a project that everybody is in agreement that we should be moving forward. So some of the project goals is obviously faster travel times throughout the corridors, improve customer experience and comfort, support job creation, improve bus schedule reliability, enhance overall corridor pedestrian safety and accessibility, and improve the state of good repair and environmental outcomes. So where have we come? So back in 2019, there was a Move New Haven study that identified this project as a project to move forward so that we would improve schedule reliability. We've been working with our project partners, our municipal partners, to identify a concept that we believe will work and something that can be commented on so that we can improve it. But that is what we're going to be showing on these roll plots and the project boards. And where we are today is really to get your feedback so that our concepts aren't just something that we drew on a piece of paper, but something that we can get your feedback on. From that, we'll take the feedback and we'll complete some of our environmental documentation that we're going to need to do, and then move the project to concept design and final design so that we can, we're currently proposing to put this project out into construction in 2028 with construction completion in 2030. And our current estimate is about $300 million for this project. Some of the project components that help us meet our purpose and need is some bus corridor treatments, which includes dedicated bus lanes and queue jumps to get those buses out into the travel lane faster. Transit signal priority and signal equipment operational upgrades, as well as branded stops and amenities, mobility and pedestrian safety improvements, as well as some mobility hubs. And we'll get into each one of these topics as we move forward in this presentation. But these are the routes on the right-hand side of this presentation, and the dedicated bus lanes are the lanes that are in red. So from the concepts we've come through and have 3 new BRT routes. The green line will be from Dixwell Ave to Union Station. The route shown in orange will be from Whaley Avenue to Foxton Boulevard. And the blue route was from West Haven Station to the New Haven Green. all the routes will be directed to the New Haven Green as it currently is right now, as the routes currently are running. And more information on the New Haven Green is on a board for future reviewing later on. We will be looking at what the existing service will be after the bus rapid transit, and that is still under development. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rick.
So again, I'm Rick Plinke with VHB. And as Adam mentioned, I'm going to talk about a little bit about the project components, and some of the main elements, as Adam alluded to, are really provide that reliability, improved service for transit riders. And we do that through a number of ways. One is dedicated bus lanes, and we are considering dedicated bus lanes in a number of locations on the Dixwell Corridor, Whaley Avenue, Elm Street, and Church, and then also on Boston Post Road. And we really selectively identified those locations based on where the most recurring vehicle delays were, where they had opportunities to provide increased reliability for bus service. And really, a lot of questions we often get asked is like, who's going to be allowed to use those bus lanes? And primarily they're going to be used for CT transit vehicles. But, on occasion, when there's emergency personnel, police vehicle, fire apparatus moving through the corridor, if there's queue backup, they can use those lanes temporarily. And I will also note that the state is currently investigating legislation to actually enforce the bus lanes and allow buses only to be operating and not, allow general purpose traffic to be operating in those lanes. These typical sections on the graphic here just basically give you a little bit of a sample of how we are allocating space within the roadway footprint, I'll call it. And generally, for most of the corridors that we're working in, we are staying within the existing curb lines. That was kind of our existing constraint. So we're trying to balance, parking impacts and, providing dedicated bus lanes where possible. So like I mentioned on Dixwell, on Whaley Avenue, this is how we were looking at potentially repurposing some of the roadway space. And as the mayor alluded to as well, it's not only dedicated bus infrastructure we're really promoting, it's actually safety improvements. So you'll see, like, for example, on Whaley, portions of Dixwell, we're implementing what we call road diets or lane narrowings to really not only provide opportunities for the bus lanes to fit in the corridor, but also to shorten crossing distances for pedestrians and actually make vehicles to actually travel safer down the corridors. And we're also doing this on Elm Street as well in the downtown New Haven core. And that was one area that we saw a lot of opportunity to improve bus reliability through that area. It's very highly traveled, as you guys are aware. And one thing that we're doing unique there is it's actually going to be bi-directional for buses. So it will be remaining eastbound for general purpose traffic, but there will be a westbound, what we call a contraflow bus lane that will allow bus traffic to move through the downtown area, reduce some of the turns that are currently required by buses to make them move through more efficiently. Another technology that we're going to deploy or looking to deploy on the project is transit signal priority. And that is a technology where the buses and their systems operate and allow the buses to communicate with the traffic signals. So if you've ever seen a emergency fire truck going through an intersection, sometimes the lights will turn green. It's a similar type of technology where you're basically able to connect and communicate the two devices. And really, we're only going to be applying that where the buses are behind schedule. So if the bus is behind schedule, approaching a bus stop or a corridor, there will be a communication and a trigger that allows the signal to either maybe extend the green signal, or if there is a red indication that the bus is arriving on, it will try to shorten that red signal to basically speed up the bus and get them back on schedule. Another thing that we're looking to roll out on the project is really what we call BRT branded bus stops. So basically going beyond our traditional bus stop and really making this more visually aware for the community that this is an enhanced service. And one thing that we're looking at exploring is, larger shelters that are really context-based. They're going to be sized for the available footprint that's available in the area, what the needs are of the neighborhood that it's being sited within. Also having real-time information, so allowing bus passengers to know when the next bus is going to be arriving. I think it's a really nice feature. Also having branded signage just to really promote that connection of this is an enhanced service and make people aware that how that's being provided. looking at public safety and looking at lighting opportunities, and then also really supporting transfers between not only the BRT service and the local bus service to make those connections safer and more seamless. Another thing that you'll see in the roll plots is at the end of each of the quarters, we're looking at deploying what we call mobility hubs. And these are areas to not only turn the buses around, but also to charge the electric buses. You might have heard that we're looking at using electric buses that need to be charged throughout the corridor. So providing an extra amount of space for that to happen. Also for driver amenities, for restrooms, things like that for the drivers to take a break during those timeframes. And it'll have similar amenities likely than to the BRT stops. So looking at a little bit of a branding, signage, and other accessibility features and things like that. Another element that we looked at in kind of our last year or so in our planning efforts was kind of how we improve operations on these corridors. We're again mentioning we're looking to repurpose the roadway to fit all these different modal uses. And some of these intersections, as you guys probably travel around, like Putnam, for example, they're very complex. You know, they have awkward geometry, they have multiple signals. It's very challenging not only for drivers, but for these areas. So one thing that our improvements is looking at using roundabouts. You know, they provide a lot of opportunities from not only safety, but improved operations. You're not stopping, seeing a signal all the time. So a couple key locations, Broadway and Dixwell on Whaley. Also in the Putnam Avenue, which we have a board over here that we can talk through. We have that on the roll plot as well. And then another one on Munson further south on Dixwell. And then on Grand and Ferry as part of the City of New Haven's Grand Avenue project, there is a proposed roundabout at that location. And then finally, as the mayor alluded to again, it's not only a transit project, this is a pedestrian safety project. And we're looking at deploying a number of safety treatments holistically throughout the project limits. And this starts with, you know, raised intersections. You guys might have seen this. I know New Haven has a few of them. I think the town of Hampton is looking at doing some raised crosswalks near the Farmington Canal Trail. And these really do a number of things. It makes it, one, remind drivers they need to yield and slow down for pedestrians at crosswalks, but it also makes drivers travel slower. So that's one thing that we're really trying to achieve is if there is a crash, that a person has a greater chance of survival if there is an impact with a vehicle. Another feature that you guys have probably seen around as well is what we call rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Those you push a button and there's like this strobe pattern that comes out of a sign. They've been very effective. They're a fairly low cost treatment and has a really good compliance for drivers actually yielding pedestrians, which we're trying to achieve. And then another thing that we're looking to do is, as part of our accessibility improvements on the corridor, is shorten the crossing distances and improve the sight lines for pedestrians trying to cross the street. So on the roll plans, you'll see that the curb lines are extended out into the street more. So that basically shadows a parking vehicle, but it also removes that obstruction that a parked vehicle will have between a pedestrian and a driver. So a pedestrian now has a better sight line. The driver can see a pedestrian trying to cross the street at an intersection. So these are things that we're, again, applying holistically throughout the project. If you guys on the roll plots, if you see anything that you're like, oh, this is a hot spot for crashes, we did look at, you know, crash history on the corridors, but if you guys are having trouble crossing the street or anything like that, definitely reach out to us and we want to get your comments on those kind of locations. So with that, turn it back to Adam.
Thanks, Rick. With any project, there is going to be project impacts. Generally, we are looking to stay within the existing right of way. For the most part, we'll only be utilizing sliver takes to make sure we can get that cross section within the corridor. There will be some on-street parking that will need to be removed and reallocated. That we've tried to balance that out throughout the project corridors. There is some bike lane addition as well as some removal in the New Haven area. We are doing some safety improvements that Rick mentioned with raised intersections, new curb bump outs for pedestrians. We will be working through the signal timing on all of these signals throughout the corridors. With new protected turn lanes, pedestrian phasings, and the roundabouts. We'll be doing some street reconfiguration and reorientation to make sure that the intersection works better and more functional so that we're getting the buses through in a more efficient way. And we'll be doing some bus stop consolidation and relocation at some select locations. In order to accommodate some of the turning movements, we are having to close some driveways and relocate them for safety improvements. So this is the part where we want to hear from you. We have a public information survey or link through this QR code or the project webpage. You can get to that to provide your feedback. And you can also email me via adam.fox@ct.gov, or you can call us at 860-594-2020. Just reference the project Move New Haven BRT. And we definitely encourage everyone to attend the public house portion of this. Go look at the boards, meet us at the tables, find what intersection you're most interested in. Look at the plans in the comment. We're recording each one of the sticky notes as part of our public comment process. And what happens next is we will take all that information and to help refine our design, and we will be back with another public information once we have things more finalized and before we go to construction. So with that, I'll leave this QR code up, but we can do a little question and answers before we go to the roll calls. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you said the project is gonna cost about 300 million.
Yep.
Is that a combination of the towns? Like, how's it being funded? Is the state doing this or taxpayers doing it?
So this is so our next step after this public period is we're going to be applying for a grant with the Federal Transit Administration. So that some portion of the project will to get hopefully additional federal funding, and that whatever remainder will be a state funded project. Yeah.
And my second question is, are there any plans to expand the bridge up Dixwell Path, Putnam Path? Because right now, what I experienced, a lot of people have said to me, was that there wasn't any public transportation to get to the public library straight up Dixwell. They'd actually have to transfer to New Haven, downtown New Haven, and get a bus from Whitney Avenue to get up to the town hall and to get to the free public library, you know, which is their right to use. So do we see any plans for that in the future?
It's a great comment, and luckily I have Barry Diggs from Connecticut Transit in the back.
Currently, depending on where the captain is coming from, there is a transfer point at the plaza now, which you jump on our 228 service center, and that'll get you into the area. It's which one that is the one that
Okay, so
there's a transfer point.
oh, now, how, that happened usually?
No, that's been in the yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Yes.
I wonder your last slide, they talked about driveway closures or.
Yep.
Or moving, like, how do you go about getting permissions for that? You're talking about driveways of businesses, what?
Yeah, it'll, you know, what we will be working through that through the design. And the process will be working through, reaching out to each one of the residences to have that conversation. Yes, sir.
The mobility study talking about improvement in the corridor for each town. So I would imagine that there will be a plan for each town that will show the impact that will take place, economic impact that will take place within the corridor there. Where do you find that plan if it has been developed already?
So there hasn't been an economic impact plan associated with it unless it was included in the original Move New Haven study. Right now, we're trying to make sure that we are getting a system that is functional and efficient and has the speed and reliability that will help any of that economic development in the future.
Well, I asked that question,
Yep.
because there has been two meetings in reference to this in regards to that. And again, the impact study, which I guess is what initiated and drawing a lot of this, makes reference to that. So I would imagine at some point that will be the rest that we want to know if that has already been started, will that be done by the town? Or will it be a combination, and where do we find it when this will be?
So that environmental impact assessment that I think you're referring to.
No, economic.
Well, I mean, that's a, broadly speaking, a CEPA, environmental policy. Requires that we need, but before we can go through that process, we need to have a locally preferred alternative and define that. And this is the purpose, the primary outcome of this process is to get a locally preferred alternative. Then we go through this CEPA process, determine that environmental, economic.
Well, again, I only asked the question only because from the town's perspective, we have too many illustrating the economic impact, the revitalization, things of that, they continue forward. So, again, whether that's premature or whether that's just optimistic in preparation for where we're going, my inquiry is not in regards to the environmental.
Well, I don't want to say, it's a broad term that, all impacts. Yeah.
But to answer my question, it has not been done yet.
That's correct.
Okay.
We need to have, we need a plan and study plan. I know that's critical milestone, and that process is critical, the process, we need to. So we need to.
Yes, sir.
One of the biggest concerns I have, and we know it looks great and everything, but we have such a problem with the aggressive driving. And how are we going to handle? I mean, are we gonna wait till this project is implemented to handle the aggressive driving? Because it would be nice if we could start to train our people before this project happens. Because I look at that traffic circle over by Putnam and Woodland and Helen and Circular as a nightmare. And would we have speed controls in place coming into all those traffic circles?
Yeah, so I think I alluded to, one of the big benefits of roundabouts you're mentioning is speed control and speed management, not only on the approaches, but actually through the roundabout. Now, one thing we're looking at exploring at the two-leg approaches on Dixwell is looking at raised crosswalks potentially. So that's going to be a natural deterrent for people to speed those areas. We're also looking at a number of corridors, restricting the number of lanes. So in some cases, like for example, on Whaley, it's a 4-lane roadway right now. We're going to reduce it down to 3 lanes. So you can only go as fast as the vehicle in front of you. So that's another way to control speeds. We're also looking at safety or at crash hotspots throughout the whole project. We're looking at raised intersections. We have bump outs, like I mentioned, to narrow the footprint and the turning speed that vehicles like. So I think your point about just kind of addressing the aggressive behavior, I think will be done holistically throughout the project.
So do you think that we'll start taking more control of the aggressive drivers before this starts, or?
Will be part of the project implementation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't speak for what the town or the other communities are looking at doing before that, but as part of our project, we are going to be managing speeds holistically throughout the project. That's going to be a given.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
There's a red light cameras, I don't know if anything is plan for this aid program, speed training and red light camera program is available to take that.
Yes, sir.
Adding on to the question before about bus organization, is it, I know we can transfer, but obviously transferring the bill more payment than one C ride, and I believe the transfer also then head back to the and get additional, then go up to the Gap and Cheshire and Water. So like, is there a possibility of extending the BRT to visual Whitney intersection, which is really the center of our town, we can then transfer to 228 to get the Quinnipiac, Cheshire, Waterbury, there's a lot of destinations there, so it seems, maybe about a mile, I live in that mile, actually. But it's only about a mile, so it seems a shame get so close, Coles is obviously a huge destination there, but another destination pretty close.
Yeah,
That's
but-
not, sort of, it seems like a waste of opportunity, not looking at that can guarantee not far. Hello, Councilman Hughes.
Plan, now, Planner and I were just chatting about that. I think the town center master plan that. We did the court of council, yeah, that part of the study is exactly to look at improving those. So if we can build on what we're doing with this team and hopefully then. Whoever doing the project is. Talk to Barry for sure, we can see.
So would this be, I mean, obviously we're not doing documents or anything, but I guess it would be possible.
Yeah.
Design in such a way that we need to possibility depending on company.
So you're not alone in having these having these thoughts on this project. I think every single public info meeting that we've had on this project, everybody sees the benefit of it and wants it to go further. It's really our focus and purpose and need and get these core spine corridors having more reliable and better service so that it's able to be built upon and so that it can be connected to other locations. But we really need to fix this central issue with speed and reliability to have the rest of the system function properly and speed and more reliable.
Yeah, and one advantage of the BRT and Brooklyn Light Rail, you're not building railroad tracks in the road.
Exactly.
So it does have the ability to be extended or moved in the future. There it is about everyone, as Adam said, there's people that, can be extended to the mile.
Yeah, and then once you get there, then it's like, oh, then.
Yeah.
Well, especially once that North Haven train station comes in, right? That's all planned stuff.
And every extra mile requires an extra bus, an extra work driver, so it's an operating cost, and it's about things, packed, but, feel free to put that comment in, that comments,
I would.
Yes, ma'am.
I walk a lot, and so I
feel.
Oh, sorry, I just want to make sure I hear.
No, that's okay. I walk a lot and I'm thrilled to see the bump outs and the raised crosswalks and all. And I'd be interested in Stephen, you're gonna laugh at me. But I'm interested in that idea on other state roads, and so I want to know a little more about how that has changed at DOT.
Yep.
And what criteria you use for determining whether you have a raised crosswalk on a state.
All right.
I hope they even had the first one.
Yes.
Yeah, on the town.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll start and then Mr. Belskis is gonna help me on this because I'm a bus and vertical guy and the highway component of it is not, yeah. So basically, the department has as part of the Vision Zero policy at the department, we have a complete streets program that is systematically looking to make sure that at any one of our projects, we are incorporating pedestrian safety into each one of our projects. So as we move along, we're incrementally increasing pedestrian safety across every single one of our projects. Raised intersections, there's it's hard for old dogs to learn new tricks, I would say, from Connecticut DOT. But we're becoming more and more open to them. Really, it's from a maintenance standpoint, they're our plow guy, to be honest with you, would rather just go straight through and not have to raise their plow at all. But with new technology and awareness, they're becoming more amenable to that. Anything else you want to add to that, Joe?
That's actually pretty good.
I've been learning, so.
I have something to say. I have my hand raised.
Sure.
Wow.
Sorry.
I have something to say for what the gentleman here said. They also need to look at these bus drivers that's driving these buses, city buses. But they drive these buses like they drive in their cars. The protocol, they supposed to put on the signal that the traffic know they're coming down, not to pull right out on you. they're doing that a lot, and a lot of different areas, you know, a whole lot
Good.
happening. And some of them, they got the front end into the curb and the back end and go away in the middle of the street, you can't get by.
So that's an excellent point, and Barry has heard you on that. But as part,
Supervisors out, but you don't see supervisors out that much like they used to years ago.
Yeah.
That's taking these situations out. And also, these bus stops, they just put the signs up anywhere in Hamden. And somebody says no sidewalk for people to even walk. And the snow is this high, snowbanks, you got kids standing on top of snowbank to try to get on the bus, that's dangerous, not safe. So they need to look at a lot of these areas in here, especially where there's no sidewalks, when they open up those two new streets going up Woodard Street, and they popped up these new stop signs that took down the other one. And they didn't look at, analyze the whole situation, there's no sidewalk. And nobody's cleaning those snowbanks. And sometimes bus don't even stop. I see one of the kids, the bus didn't even stop for the kid. So let's go down some because we're gonna purchase some steering on this big snowbank. And he flagged the bus wouldn't even stop for the kid to get on the bus. He kept going because he wasn't at that bus stop where it was dangerous at, when to be steering. So there's a lot that they need to look at in here.
so I can't speak to the existing bus stops, but I can say that
But you could speak to someone that's in charge.
I will.
They were working together.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I know.
But with the new bus stop locations, even we are moving we are making sure that the buses, especially the local bus service, are able to pull out of the general lane of traffic so that they're fully, we're basically widening where they can,
They need to learn how to use the signal, so somebody, if they come.
yes. But we gotta do the engineer, before we can do driver,
We are taking notes.
yes. But
There's members of our administrative team here, there's some different bus operators here, so we are taking notes.
Anytime you see something like that, call our customer service. Calling our customer service line gives us the right to pull that tape and take a look at it, and we have developed a bigger training department and training academy, and with any kind of discipline that we give additional training as well. So, you know, make those calls, keep making those calls, we investigate every single complaint. Sometimes you don't see what's happening behind the scenes, but we definitely investigate and we do training for all of the people that. So please continue to make those calls, okay?
You have a number, Andy, off the top of your head?
624-0151.
yeah, I encourage,
Oh, it's still there, already started. Let's get to the phone call 151.
Also available on the website,
On the website.
and you can put in concerns also on the website, and directly comes to us as well.
yes, sir.
Question.
Got you next.
Sorry?
Somebody that sent us before, send people out to watch it.
We do. We do.
Not much like they
You know, because I can tell you everything, you send people out there, they can.
Right, but think about it, we have 100 and something buses.
the supervisors don't come out like they used to. If they have to, they even coming over somewhere, so chat. Keep it real.
Another thing is, sometimes some of these bus is coming on the street, that you have park here, park here, and park over this way, park over that way.
Trust me, I know, I live in Hamden. So, and that becomes difficult for the bus operators. That becomes difficult for the bus operators and for the passengers. You know, that was difficult, you know, again, I live in Hamden. My street is still not clear. And that's because of all that my neighbors parking in the street and not abiding by, you know, so the removal, and that causes the plow drivers to not be able to service those areas. So, you know, it's very difficult for that to happen, but keep making those complaints. I'm taking notes that you're not seeing supervisors in Hamden, because I know I have one that specializes in Hamden. But again, like I said, we have 100 buses on the road, and we can't have 100 supervisors.
Thank you.
I got him next.
So Mayor Eliper talked about bringing CT Transit and Yale shuttles and possibly developing shuttles. First student is just down the street, down the bus, all the buses that has all the shuttles from universities. Has that conversation come to DOT?
Very early, the city of New Haven is doing a study currently. They've engaged with us very preliminarily.
And then the follow-up to this is, we've talked a lot about the physical infrastructure in terms of the human infrastructure. What will that cost? How do we maintain it, right? Like, how many more drivers is this going to require? What's the budget for that? How do people advocate for that? And now, in theory, the fare isn't going to go up. But people have made it very clear that if the fare goes up any higher, it's gonna be an issue. So how, to the legislators, other people here, how do we make sure that the money is here once this project is seen for the people in the structure? Because if you only have a couple of bus drivers, but need to use the bathroom and then are running late, it doesn't matter how many times I tell your administration to write them up. And they have to use the bathroom, they have to get point A to point B, and there's not enough drivers. The issues are just gonna persist.
Also, with the mobility hubs, we are building in bathroom facilities for the drivers to make sure that we have the space for them and the layover space to make sure that there's time to catch up within the corridors. As Graham has
I mean,
mentioned,
we have about 20 additional buses would be needed to provide the service, and as you extend it, every mile. You know, and there's a cost to that, we've projected that in the models, and, we're aware of this cost, because it's been a priority, for the region and the state legislators, and continue to advocate to continue to support them. And we, there's, it's not insignificant, it's a significant amount of money per year, you're right, operating costs, capital is relatively easy to get in a grant. But you've got to have support, but the success of the program will allow that funding to keep flowing. So we build a good system and goes to the right places and it's right there, it's much easier to get that support.
yes, sir.
One of your slides mentioned you're gonna put in bike lanes and take away bike lanes.
Yep.
Dixville itself right now has a couple of painted bike lanes, but what's the plan for this program for that? You're gonna take it out or make it more?
I don't know the specifics.
Yeah, so in Dixville, I forgot the exact limits, but there's a shorter segment, I would call it, of discontinuous bike lanes. It doesn't really connect. So again, going back to my comment about trade-offs, this is one location where we are looking at balancing the safety needs and the need in the corridor. And we were looking at from the adjacent Pharmacy Canal Trail being 1 block away. We felt that was a more continuous, safer facility, so we were prioritizing that as the bike corridor on Dixwell. Similarly on Elm Street in downtown New Haven, we are providing bike lanes, 2-way bike lanes to actually connect the green to some of the points on the Broadway area. So there is locations where we're adding, some areas where we're subtracting.
Yes, thank you.
A related question, I was noticing, this is one good, on Whaley, there's sections that are gonna be striped red. Bus only,
Yes.
and then there's a set of narrow travel lanes for personal vehicles. What, a cyclist who's going along, do they then pull out into the main traffic lane during the red striped area? I ride Whaley from time to time, just looks like it could be a little dangerous.
Yes, I think you're referring to our bikes going to be allowed to be in the bus lane.
Yeah, my guess is not, and they shouldn't be, but.
Yeah, we haven't worked through the operational plan. Yeah, so we haven't worked on if bikes are going to be permitted to be, I'm sure they're going to be crossing through there. We are actually making connections, enhanced bikeway connections between Whaley and I think it's Edgewood Avenue to the south in New Haven, which has a separated bike lane on that corridor. So again, we're looking for those parallel routes to really facilitate bike movement through the corridor, because unfortunately, we can't fit everything in the street. Otherwise, you start compromising dimensions and it doesn't work for anyone. So we're trying to figure out transit a priority. It's pet safety, those are voting and looking for alternative solutions on the adjacent streets.
We're kind of a related one. What kind of provision do you have on these buses for multimodal, like rack, like on board? I know the fast track has been on and they can wheel it on and tuck it against the window in a spot. You know, since we won't be able to ride the corridor, I'm wondering if you're gonna allow like on the buses, they can take advantage of efficient transportation.
I mean, the design of the buses is not finalized, we made it work for the program, but we typically have a triple flight rack in front of the bus. And we'll look at, you know, what possible bikes, you know, on the interior.
Yeah, we visited your CT rail exhibit at Union Station. Very impressed to have 4 bike hanger racks there over the 2. For the Hartford line, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's right, I mean, there's a lot of space.
Hope that's a trend across all.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a compromise between, you know, you lose bike inside, we have 3 bike racks and, you know, if we, you know, provide bike infrastructure along the corridor. And also micro mobility, you know, we talked about providing micro mobility at these hubs and at each one of these stops to give people the ability for last mile.
Sorry, I got very low, I apologize if I missed it, but, just curious, is there any efficient travel time from Coles to Green?
There is, I don't know it off the top of my head. But there is, overall time savings currently. Yeah.
It's about what, 35 minutes now?
Oh, yes.
Now, okay, basically,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to, affirm how exciting it is to have buses with this frequency that you're talking about. Because, you know, I feel like I care a lot about the economy and I sort of have a European view about transportation. I would like to live that way. But when it's less frequent and you have to sort of check the schedule and figure out when you're gonna go out and stand in the cold, it really is a disincentive. And I think if you can bring this off, the ridership will just go way up.
You hit the nail on the head on what the goals of this project are. Yeah.
It's almost more important than how long it takes to get from downtown New Haven to, it's the frequency that.
And the reliability, knowing the bus is gonna be there every 10
Exactly.
minutes.
Exactly.
Sometimes you go waiting for a bus looking for
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it takes 20-30 minutes to get just around the
Right,
way.
if your app is wrong, it doesn't matter if it's every 10 minutes, if it's 3 minutes wrong, who cares? But if it's, you know,
Right.
another 45 minutes or so, I think this is great.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions. My first question is the state of Connecticut going to subsidize this once it's up and running, subsidize the towns to maintain this? Is that a part of the plan?
As part of this,
Because our town, you know, will be concerned about how much maintaining their end of it
yeah,
from the plaza down to this town line. So that's my first question.
yeah, that's, if I can answer them in parts, make sure I fully answer them. As part of this, there will be a maintenance agreement between the state and the town. We haven't even begun those conversations, but this is a state asset. So accordingly, there would be more state involvement in maintenance than a typical project.
I guess I can add to that, like, I think you and I haven't talked about it, but I have talked about it with Graham. We had discussed some of the revenue generating advertising dollars that other municipalities like Stanford, I believe.
Yeah, Bridgeport, Stanford.
It's something I recently talked with my boss about, and we're looking at how we can implement that as the program gets up and running, because Councilperson Caldwell is very correct. It's going to be quite a big lift. And so if we could do a program like Stanford has, where we use the stations to help generate ad revenue, have a contractor that's incentivized to clean it up because they have the ad revenue. That's where we're looking at right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, the reality is a lot of municipal departments are spread very thin. If you have advertising and you actually pay someone to clean out the bus stops.
Right.
They do it, and, you know, we do that, I did inventory of all the state. People who cleaned out the bus shelters, the ones that were the best cleaned. Who paid to advertise and actually pay the contractor to do it, to prioritize.
That's my first question.
Sure.
My second question is, will this system be synced with the trains as well? Meaning, can I get on a bus here and be able to get to Union Station in time to catch a current train in Stanford or New York City? Or
So-
will I just have to, will it be synced? I mean, my.
Yes.
Like, what is the priority? Priority just getting to New Haven, or is priority getting to another form of mass transit to go? So I don't have to
Yeah, so-
leave my car anywhere. I can just leave it at home and then just drive.
Our main purpose and need is to service the mass ridership that is utilizing these four corridors. Where 41% of the ridership in the region is utilizing these core areas. We are connecting to Union Station, and with 10-minute headways, you would be able to sync up your train schedule to, through Google Maps. You can even say, I'm going to be arriving, when do I want to arrive by at Union Station? And it'll kind of back calculate when you need to get there. So it'll automatically be synchronized without us having to match the schedules. Yep.
You mentioned 20 additional buses. Is that 20 buses being added to what's already in route, or are some of those replacing the buses that are already because of the technology that you're talking about?
That's exactly the line of additional buses. That's what we estimate. It's another bus we need to.
Yeah, it'll be we'll be cycling in a brand new dedicated fleet to this operation with 20 additional buses.
Replacing buses that are already in operation?
No, these will be all the buses.
Okay.
And they'll be branded, we haven't finalized the brand. If you've ridden the fast track, they have special buses, so people know those buses are the special express buses.
So the ones that are running now will still be running, and you're adding 20 to that?
Exactly. I mean, we may cut back some local service in these corridors if people move to the fast route service.
Yes, sir.
I do understand that most of this is preliminary, but to the question of travel time. Have you yet determined bus stops for this new express?
Yes,
Okay. Are they listed on the map?
they are indeed.
What I've seen there is, if you're coming down Dixwell, from New Haven, the first stop into Hamden is Treadwell. Is a pretty good distance from Goodrich Street, which is the start of Hamden, to Treadwell. So if the people who are in the Goodrich area would like to take advantage of this express, they have to go to Treadwell Street to get the bus on that stop?
The first stop is much sooner than that. I think it's, is it March or?
Yeah, and you look at detail.
Let's meet it.
I thought it was pretty clear on the map, it's identified as buses, so the bus stops are there, so. But I'll speak to someone.
Yeah.
I'll get clarity on it.
So I think that might be a good segue for us to, adjourn the. Let me get this part out. After this last question, we will adjourn to the roll plots where we'll have people stationed to, ask your direct questions on bus stops, and you look at the plans where your bus stop is, and we can document those comments on the stickies. I need to keep plugging the QR code. All that information gets logged in our public information management system, and it helps us to respond directly to you if you have a direct question. So use the QR code. And last question.
Does the 300 million include the electric buses, or is it just for the overwhelming?
That's a good question. I don't remember the answer off the top of my head.
Maybe it does, it's about $1 million.
It does.
For electric bus, I believe it does.
It does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're saying $1 million per bus.
An exception.
Yeah, going off that, you mentioned earlier about like the financing and everything.
Yep.
Looking for like federal grants and everything, is there, I mean, reflecting on like the reality of like the federal situation, is there a concern about that not being able to happen? And the cost being shunted to Connecticut?
So there is a set criteria for the grant. The grant program that we're going to be applying for. This project has a very good use case to meet those criteria. What happens with our application, I can't comment on, but all of the criteria for this project to enter into that grant program, this project more than meets the metrics on.
And I will say that, you know, transit it's been fairly bipartisan, you know, the concern was, you know, what has happened recently in Washington, but the results so far have been pretty bipartisan, and there has been a focus on transit. You know, the concern at one point was transit, highway was gonna take all the money, but it has not been the case so far. And the transit is getting their share of the money, and transportation is one of the few federal agencies that actually receive more money in the last funding cycle. So, but your concern is legitimate.
Yes, Barry?
So, you know, cat's out the bag. I work with Connecticut Trade.
Guys,
So I'm speaking on as a resident of him, the mayor says it's my right to public comment. I show my support to this project. And transportation, I don't see just the, you know, just the start is what this is. What this project does is it allows us to really invest in these cities for workers. This is just the start. Please, you know, give us your feedback.
By the Belco door on it, Bill.
Let us know what you want.
It's doing a Zoom.
Thank you. Perfect setup. All right, thank you very much. Please join us at the table. And there's plenty of food soon.